the ASCSU's new Director of Diversity and Inclusion.
Then, Rams football is back, and so are the parking laws that you should know about, and future plans for Hughes Stadium. Good evening, Rams. I'm Weston Hubbard, and welcome back to another semester of Thursday Night News.
And I'm Kenny Frederick. We have plenty of news, weather, sports, and entertainment. So let's jump right in. There was controversy surrounding the ratification of the ASCSU's new Director for Diversity and Inclusion at last night's meeting, with some senators saying that it went against the Senate's procedures.
Jocelyn Aji was at last night's Student Senate meeting to be ratified as the new Director of Diversity and Inclusion. But a complication was brought up during the discussion and debate. Senator Ariadne Athey took issue with the fact that Aji wasn't President Christian's first choice for the position. A director had been chosen last semester after a searching and application process had taken place. But that person went no contact with the administration over the summer. The executive office didn't even know if they were still in the country or not. Senator Athey said that it was against protocol to not do another round of searching and applications, and disagreed with how President Dixon chose a new director.
We didn't see any applications sent out or anything, and it feels a little bit like the position was given away.
President Dixon admitted that his communication to the Senate could have been better over the summer, but defended his decision to choose Aji, who was his runner-up after his original candidate.
That position was widely marketed across the board. I went on Instagram, takeover for CSU. We emailed all of the directors, all the stakeholders across campus, went through a very labor-intensive process, and from that we identified a list of individuals. Jocelyn was number 2.
Many of the senators saw an urgency to fill the position as the school year had already started. With several senators voicing that opinion, Aji was unanimously ratified and instated as the new director for the Office of Diversity and Inclusion.
Aji said that she looks forward to being able to do outreach on campus, trying to make change that is both sustainable and viable for underrepresented groups here at CSU.
In summer of 2020, an arrest of a 73-year-old woman with dementia, Karen Gardner, led to her receiving injuries after being forced to the ground in a way that she had deemed unnecessary. A few weeks of trial and multiple accounts of evidence were presented, including body footage from the officer at the time. Officer Austin Hopper.
On the ground. On the ground.
Officer Austin Hopp will face assault charges for the arrest that occurred. Back when this incident occurred, Austin Hopp had defended his choice, saying that it was due to poor cooperation from the elderly lady and that there was no way that they were going to make it work out. However, due to that footage coming out, he did resign from the force, and as of 2 weeks later, there is no sort of evidence now that he's going to go back and have a mistrial.
528 West Mountain View Ave is the address of one of the oldest buildings in Old Town, at 136 years old. It's also the center of a dispute between the new homeowners and the Fort Collins Historic Preservation Commission. The commission voted 2 weeks ago to recommend that the house should receive a landmark designation. But the new homeowners, Jason and Misha Green, wanted to demolish and rebuild the house due to its deterioration. If the City Council follows this recommendation, it will be the first non-consensual designation in Fort Collins since 1985. Reporter Natalie Devereaux will have a follow-up story talking about the long and notable history of the home at our show next Tuesday at 7.
With a rise in deaths from 2019 to 2020 related on drug overdose, CSU's Prevention Research Center has received a generous award of $350,000 from the National Institute of Food and Agricultural Rural Health and Safety in an effort to help provide training against opioid abuse and to provide assistance to rural areas. Major drug distributors are preparing to give out settlement funds to states, including Colorado, for the contribution to the opioid crisis, which means Colorado will also receive a $300 million settlement fund at the minimum that can be used for a plethora of things, including combating and lowering the crippling addictions that many have. Stick around, Rams. We have more news after the weather with Morgan Gardner.
That's here on CTV 11.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
There's more news, so let's get right into it.
Back in April of this year, Fort Collins residents voted for the Hughes Stadium land to be purchased by the city. Some of the indigenous members in Colorado, however, want the land to be returned to its rightful owners. After the ballot passed in April, the sales for Hughes Stadium moves forward with a $12.5 million sale for the property in an effort for conservation. The land is intended to be sold to the city of Fort Collins, and the plan was, once acquired, to use the land for areas such as parks, open lands, recreation, and many other land preservation activities. However, members of the Intertribal Alliance for Hughes Land Back advocated for the land and asked that the land instead be returned to its original native stewardship, as it is regarded as spiritual land to them. If not returned, they have at least asked that the city respect the spirit of the land. The city has a vision of community engagement in the future with the land, and spokesperson Amanda King came out with a statement to the Coloradan, saying, quote, "We would absolutely engage our Native American and Indigenous community members in that public engagement process." Members of the tribe are hoping this comes out to be a step towards an alliance and accomplice rather than cause more issues with the already tense relationship that exists between CSU and the native tribes regarding the land. The tension exists because back in 1957, quote, "the land was illegally given to Colorado State University on authority of the land grant designation." All eyes will be on the city of Fort Collins in the next couple of months to see what their plan is, and to see if they can make right by the land that is sacred to the members of its spiritual beliefs. Time will tell if the city of Fort Collins can keep their word and respect the spirituality behind this land that means so much to its native tribes.
Tomorrow is our first football game of the year. With all of the excitement comes some important information for students on campus. The university sent out an email yesterday telling students about what game day will look like during normal school hours. Students living on campus will have to move their cars by 9 o'clock tonight to one of these lots. Students off campus will see that most parking on campus will be closed by 7 o'clock in the morning, with other lots kicking students off at 2 in the afternoon. Failure to obey these times will lead to fines and fees of around $240. By 4 in the afternoon, the roads around CSU will all be one way for game day traffic.
I'm really excited. I transferred, so I'm not really new to Rams football, so I'm kind of excited to go to a game. What about you?
I have not been to Canvas Stadium or a game since literally my freshman year. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be going with
For
friends.
real, football games, I'm ready to be a part of it. All right, well, voters who are looking to make their voices heard on the next ballot for Larimer County will not be seeing one that was sought after, a raise in sales tax to support child care. Beginning early this year, the United Way of Larimer County and Early Childhood Center of Larimer County created a team to make a way for child care to become more affordable for families at cost for living rise across the country. The solution was to come in the form of a 0.25% sales tax that would have supported many different areas of child care. Due to COVID-19 as well, the team called upon the commissioners to put the proposal on the ballot rather than gather signatures. However, the commissioners have stopped the proposal as of now, citing their reasons as worries of how the money would be properly used and the timing of it not being quote-unquote right in their opinion. The ballot comes out in November, so the chances it could end up on the ballot are not impossible, but as of right now, voters can expect for it to not show up.
100 years old is an age that not many get to see. But for Colorado's collective of centenarians, it's an age to celebrate. It would seem that the state would also agree. The Centenarian Project is a promotional activity held by the Colorado Commission on Aging. It highlights the century of achievement for each of its participants. Larimer County's own commissioner will be giving the keynote speech. The event is taking place on September 24th at the Fort Collins Senior Center.
On July 19, 2021, a fatal shooting occurred at the McDonald's located on 2400 South College Avenue. The victim was Christopher Johnson, a 39-year-old man. A suspect was later identified and arrested, Victor Corwin, a 29-year-old male. Corwin's defense attorney has now called for a competency test to be held for his defendant to see if he's even capable to stand trial and be a part of the legal proceedings. Until Corwin is deemed as competent, the trial will be held off. If proved competent, his next expected court date is September 29th, with charges as high as first-degree murder. Well, Rams, that is all the time we have for you tonight.
But stick around for the latest in sports from Cayman Evig.
And later, the best in entertainment from Tom Isaacson here on CTV.